This is the Microschool Minute, your weekly dose of microschooling news and events.
In Arizona, supporters of dueling ballot initiatives are rapidly intensifying their efforts ahead of a July 3rd petition deadline to either drastically scale back or reform the state's massive Empowerment Scholarship Account Universal Voucher Program. Originally signed into law in 2022, the nation's first universal voucher program has exploded from 12,000 to more than 100,000 students, costing taxpayers over $1 billion this fiscal year. The Teachers Union-backed Protect Education Act aims to completely dismantle universal access by eliminating eligibility for families earning over $150,000. Conversely, a rival initiative backed by the pro-voucher group American Federation for Children seeks to preserve universal eligibility while implementing strict online payment guardrails to curb widespread financial improprieties. The intense battle has attracted millions of dollars in out-of-state funding, highlighting a major national trend of pushback and defense surrounding educational choice. Recent state audits revealed that millions in unreviewed ESA funds were erroneously spent on luxury items, such as resort stays and theme park tickets, fueling the critics' demands for reform. Meanwhile, school choice advocates and former state officials are flooding digital media with pro-voucher ad campaigns, framing the program as an essential educational lifeline for families and arguing that systemic fraud rates remain exceptionally low. Families participating in Arkansas's Universal Educational Freedom Account program are experiencing severe financial strain due to processing backlogs of up to 6 weeks for homeschool and alternative schooling reimbursements. Parents testifying before a state legislative panel reported being forced to carry high-interest credit card debt or deplete personal savings for essential curriculum and alternative educational materials while waiting for the state's payment processing vendor, ClassWallet, to clear transactions. The program expanded to all students for the 2025 to 26 school year, ballooning participation to over 44,000 students and entirely overwhelming the state education department's small review staff. In response to mounting frustration and concerns over potential system exploitation, state education officials are implementing rigid new rules requiring pre-approval for non-core educational expenses and restricting student rollover funds. While officials hope to reduce review times to under 30 days by expanding staff and utilizing ClassWallet's upcoming software enhancements, parents argue that the strict pre-approval process is overly cumbersome. Alternative education advocates stress that these delays fail to accommodate the rapidly shifting costs and diverse, immediate needs of large, single-income homeschool households by developing a growing network of public microschools that blur the lines between charter, public, and alternative learning models. Operating under a single charter school funding mechanism authorized by the Indiana Charter School Board, IMC's first site, Nature's Gift, offers a highly flexible, personalized, Montessori, and classical hybrid curriculum serving up to 100 students. The collaborative plans to launch 5 additional central Indiana sites to capture growing parental demand for smaller, highly adaptable, and partnership-driven learning environments that allow students to move at their own pace. While the IMC model enables innovative resource-sharing agreements, such as purchasing transportation, fuel, and specialized administrative support from traditional local school districts, it has ignited intense opposition from several public school superintendents. Local education leaders argue that losing even a handful of students to neighboring microschools will trigger severe funding cuts and force immediate teacher layoffs. This tension highlights an emerging trend of direct competition between agile, non-traditional public models and rural districts already navigating demographic enrollment declines. A progressive counter-movement against educational freedom is gaining rapid traction nationwide, highlighted by a major push in Wisconsin to dismantle the state's pioneering school choice programs. The progressive legal organization Law Forward has filed a sweeping lawsuit alleging that the voucher system unconstitutionally drains resources from traditional public schools, a challenge that legal experts believe could succeed under the state Supreme Court's progressive majority. Furthermore, both leading Democratic gubernatorial candidates have pledged to completely abolish the voucher system, which currently serves roughly 60,000 students across the state. Proponents of alternative education warn that dismantling these programs would severely harm low-income and minority families who rely on vouchers to escape failing districts and access tailored private or microschooling environments. Pointing to historic competitive effects in states like Florida, where school choice pressure has empirically driven up traditional public school student outcomes, advocates emphasize that education savings accounts and vouchers are crucial tools for institutional accountability that must be fiercely protected from partisan and union-backed rollback efforts. West Virginia's Hope Scholarship program has seen an unprecedented explosion in demand, nearly doubling in participation to 26,617 applicants for the upcoming school year, following its first ever universal expansion to all K-12 students. This initial round of full funding applications carries an estimated state cost of $155 million, providing each selected student with $5,435.62 to spend on private school tuition, homeschooling, tutoring, laptops, or other customized educational resources. To accommodate the historic growth, state lawmakers recently allocated up to $277 million for the 2026 to 27 school year budget. Despite the program's soaring popularity among families seeking tailored alternative education options, the rapid expansion has faced legislative scrutiny. Earlier this year, a bipartisan cohort of lawmakers floated proposals to curb the program's spiraling costs, including a measure to ban the use of scholarship funds at out-of-state schools, though no bills reached a full vote before adjournment. Meanwhile, rolling enrollment remains open, with a reduced 75% funding tier available for midsummer applicants, positioning the state as a leading national incubator for universal school choice infrastructure. An analysis from the University of California, Berkeley Center for Studies in Higher Education highlights a massive expansion of non-traditional educational pathways, ranging from microschools and learning pods to dual enrollment and youth apprenticeships. This widespread growth represents a highly positive national shift toward opportunity pluralism, moving away from rigid, one-size-fits-all K-12 models to offer students highly diverse and individualized learning options. However, education policy expert Bruno Mano warns that this rapid diversification has brought severe fragmentation, leaving the American alternative education landscape complex and disconnected. Without coherent linkages between different entry points, students risk becoming stranded between alternative schooling tracks and the workforce. Mano signals an urgent trend where policymakers must focus on building seamless, functional connections rather than just multiplying choice options. A new report from the National Microschooling Center reveals that the most daunting barriers to establishing microschools stem from local business and facility regulations rather than state-level education policies or school choice criteria. According to a founder survey, 58% of respondents cited local government hurdles as their longest and most complicated compliance challenges, led by obtaining business operating approvals due to a lack of clear commercial classifications for non-traditional learning environments. Facility-related mandates, including complex zoning, occupancy certificates, and fire safety codes, comprised an additional 36% of founder bottlenecks, often exacerbated by inconsistent or inaccurate regulatory interpretations by local officials. The findings indicate a critical trend impacting alternative schooling. To foster true educational innovation, state and local policymakers must reform hyper-local zoning maps, eliminate outdated facility requirements, and provide clearer guidance tailored to small, agile learning spaces. The U.S. Department of Education has announced a landmark interagency agreement outsourcing several federal special education activities under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. This structural shift, part of a broader Trump administration effort to downsize and eventually eliminate the federal education department, has triggered intense debate within the alternative and special education sectors. Critics and disability rights advocacy groups heavily condemn the transition, warning that embedding special education within HHS risks forcing students into a restrictive medical deficit model that views them as clinical patients rather than learners, while siloing them away from general K-12 classrooms. Conversely, supporters argue that consolidating educational and therapeutic resources under HHS will break down bureaucratic barriers and streamline fragmented services for families navigating complex, developmental, or alternative learning pathways. The Miami-Dade County Public Schools Board has unanimously approved a sweeping right-sizing plan to close or consolidate 9 public schools and eliminate 168 district positions for the 2026-27 school year to offset a $17.3 million deficit. driven by a severe 4% enrollment drop of roughly 13,000 students caused by declining birth rates and fewer incoming families. The board passed the measures quietly as routine consent agenda items without public board discussion, opening the door to microschools to help the need by helping relieve the burden on strained public schools while ensuring families with options. A newly enacted federal tax credit scholarship program established under the One Big Beautiful Bill Act is poised to significantly impact alternative education when it takes effect early next year. The law allows individual federal taxpayers to claim a non-refundable tax credit of up to $1,700 for cash contributions to approved state nonprofit organizations providing K-12 scholarships, expanding tuition assistance opportunities for families across the 27 states that have currently opted into the program. However, the National Microschooling Center notes that eligibility remains highly uncertain for many alternative learning environments because the law defines eligible expenses based on state-level definitions of a school. While families in 22 states where homeschooling is legally classified as a private or religious school can easily participate, microschools operating as non-traditional learning or tutoring centers in states like Florida, Ohio, and Tennessee face a distinct risk of regulatory exclusion or narrow gubernatorial restrictions. The nonprofit organization Step Up for Students recently hosted its Navigating New Horizons conference in Orlando, Florida, drawing roughly 1,000 educators, advocates, and leaders to discuss alternative learning models. John F. Kirtley, the organization's founder and chairman, delivered a closing address challenging the historical uniformity of the pre-1990s K-12 system, noting that Florida's graduation rates during that era hovered around 60% overall. Kirtley defended the modern shift toward personalized education, directly referencing a recent state teachers union lawsuit aimed at eliminating Florida's robust charter school and educational choice scholarship programs. He emphasized that diverse options, such as microschools, online learning, and specialized magnet programs, ultimately empower students, educators, and traditional public school districts alike. The conference featured nearly 100 sessions exploring innovative practices, including school safety and the creation of microschools. Notably, standing room-only crowds gathered for sessions detailing the upcoming Federal Education Freedom Tax Credit Program. Scheduled to launch in January 2027, the federal program will allow individual taxpayers to divert up to $1,700 of their federal tax liability to support private school scholarships, drawing strong early backing from governors like Florida's Ron DeSantis. As thousands of educators and policymakers gather in New Orleans this week for the National Charter Schools Conference, the Center for Education Reform announced that it will officially release its 2026 National Charter School Law Rankings and Scorecard on August 4th. Marking 3 decades of tracking charter policies, the comprehensive scorecard evaluates the fundamental legal frameworks that dictate whether charter schools can successfully open, replicate, and expand. CER founder and CEO Jean Allen noted that the upcoming rankings highlight critical historical patterns of how state-level policymakers either foster or constrain educational innovation. A standout trend in the 2026 report is the rapid policy turnaround of Iowa, which transitioned from having one of the nation's weakest charter laws to ranking among the top 10 states. The conference also celebrated individual leadership. Recognizing Patricia Brantley, the CEO of Washington, D.C.-based Friendship Public Charter School, a recipient of the Yass Prize for Education Innovation. Brantley emphasized that strong legal frameworks are vital because they shield alternative school leaders from systemic administrative battles, allowing them to focus entirely on student outcomes. The upcoming August report will feature full state-by-state grades and a deep analysis of developments shaping the charter landscape. We'll be here all week long to get you the scoop.
If you know of a microschool or organization that deserves a shout-out, drop a line and let us know. Thank you for tuning in to the Microschool Minute, your weekly review of microschooling news and events. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you'd like to support us, consider leaving a review. Until next week, happy microschooling.